Right, so here we are with the Myford Super 7 and I'm attempting to fit an ER25 collet and the backing for it. This is the backing that came with it from RDG Tools. There's 3 bolts to fasten it and the little ER25. The reason that one's diverting, it's terrible there. The reason that I'm fitting ER25 as opposed to say a larger one up to say ER40 is simply because I've got all the parts, all the collets. I've actually got all the ER25 collets. I think there's 15 of them in a box that I use on the milling machine, and I'm only assuming that they're cheap imported ones, but they do seem quite good and they're always fairly true. So you've got to turn the register down to fit that, because that won't fit on there. It's not tight, it just won't. It needs some taking off. But I'm assuming if that's okay, which it probably isn't, but once that's bolted on there, any run out on this face is going to show up on this, isn't it? Wobble. So that's my first thing to address. So let's run it. I've got it on jog, so we're only running at 1.5 Hertz, so nice and slow, and you'll see how far it runs out. These 1,000. This it's a 0.00 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 1,000 per segment. Anyway, let me show you. It's quite a way out. That's 2,000. So there's 2,000 run out on that face. So I'm obviously going to have to run a cutter down that to get that out. I've got this tightened on using my super duper new homemade. That's a spare handle that I buggered up when I was making a ball, and it ended up like that. Anodized cherry, piece of 8mm bar in there, and you've got your handle to tighten it. All works good. So we've got to address that first. So I need to set up, take this thing out and put my compound back on, and let's get a tool to cut that, and then we'll do the register till that fits nice and snug, and then I'll bolt it on and just nip it loosely and see how far it runs out then. But I'm led to believe a lot of these imported ones, the taper in there runs out, so we'll have to see. Obviously if it's too far out, I'll just carry on using my grip true chuck, which is pretty much bang on since I adjusted it. Okay, that's my first bit of video. Take this guard off, otherwise I won't be able to get close to the AR25 holder with that one. So that'll have to come off. And then that out. Swap them for those. Blue one to the right. That's close. We don't wind off the end. good. Right, got to take a little shaving off that. On the bolt holes. See how much we need off that. $34.77 1.369 1.416 zero on my dial. so that's going to work out just right. I said we'll give some knocking room. Lovely. So the next thing is to check the depth of that against the depth of that and knock that burr out of there. The depth of that is 234 thou. Do it against them. Oh, there's loads of clearance there. That's a lot deeper than that. Of course, we don't know if that's flat with this or the inside. So next thing's to bolt that on. I hope this works out because it's a nice little thing and there's not a lot of spun weight, is there? You know, look at weight of a chuck, there's nothing there. So yeah, we've got some wiggle room. We'll run a DTI on this front face and see what it says, and then we need to get one into there, don't we? That's the most important, is that. I'll even check my spanner, see if it fits that. I hope it does. Ah, it does. Oh, so we've got a spanner. Just turn it off that mount. Okay, so let's look. Out, if you can, not wobbling away that much. That 0.9 of a thou, that face. But that face doesn't really matter, does it? It's not that we're looking at. I need to get into the Collet taper. I'll knock this camera off and I'll set it all up and come back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just as bad again. Not hopeful. Oh. Come on, stop messing me about. Can't be that good, can it? Ah, you bitch. Sorry. Spin it a few times. Well, that's definitely running in taper, and the shaft's not touching the top part. That's pretty good. So what it's paid me to leave register loose, which I did, so there's wiggle room, which I've tapped it around as you saw, and faced off this backing mandrel, whatever you want to call it. So this is especially for the Myford because that screws on to the 12 TPI inch and an 8th thread, and I've nipped it tight by locking spindle, etc. It's had a good. I'm quite impressed with that. I suppose my next best thing to do is I need to stick some drill rod, which I probably haven't got, so a piece of bar, the straightest I've got, in a collet, and bob it in and see what happens. So I shall come back when I've got that set up. Right, the only thing I've got that'll go in a collet is a cutter, milling machine cutter, which I guess that'll be straight. I won't take it past the cutter there. But they're supposed to click in, and that isn't clicking in. It's just sitting in. I'll try and click it in. It don't do anything, it's just there. It just springs past. Falls out again. Oh well. See what happens. Right, so if I put that in there it goes. You watch, it'll be miles out. Wow, that don't look to be running out to me. If it is, it's hardly anything. Well, we're going to prove it. There. Jog. 1.5 thou. Oh, hang on. Put a bit of oil on that. Point 6 of a thou. So it's run out 0.6 of a thou at the nose. I don't know what it'd be like. I suppose that'd increase, wouldn't it, the longer the length, if that's its run out. suppose what I need is a length of bar, and I need to test it at each end, don't I? And I can work out whether this is in twist, in which case that needs looking at, or that it's this face. I know that face is bang on because I've machined it, but we don't know about this face. That might need machining too. Only way of doing that, I'd have to put 3-jaw back in, put something in it like that and turn it round and grip it and then cut the face, if indeed that's what that is. Hard to tell. I suppose what I could do is stop it and rotate that half and just see if that figure alters. That's something to try. What it'd prove, I don't know. The rain's here. Right, I'm going to turn that 180 degrees, nip it back up. Amazing, isn't it? We've just turned it half a turn and it's 0.1 of a thou, 1 micron, I think that's called. Well, so maybe it ain't too bad. Maybe each time I put something in and just check it. I'm pleased with it so far. From ones I've seen, the imports, they've not always been the best of quality, and I'm not saying that's good quality, but that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I mean, that's as good as you're going to get on your 3-jaw, isn't it? I mean, that grip through I've got's really accurate, but I mean, I'd say only as accurate as that, or maybe not as accurate as that. Not repetitive either, that's the thing. These probably are repetitive, whereas your chuck not always is, depending on the size of bar or whatever you're holding. So, am I happy with it? Yeah. How much was it? It was 67 quid from RDG Tools, and it came as that's it, no spanners, no nothing. You got your backing, you got your collet chuck, and you got 3 bolts, and I'm using my collets. Because you got to remember, these collets I've got, this set is it's what I got when I got milling machine. A guy gave me them, but I mean, where were these made? How good a quality are those? They run out. Could be that. Could be them that's running out. Might be. I'm going to leave it at that and trust it. I like it. I'm glad I got it. You can work closer to chuck and you've got less chance of whacking your fingers when you're doing stuff. I do a lot of polishing. They'll be great for my mandrels, for my rings, when I'm doing my rings. So happy with it. Delighted. Lovely. Take that off. Take it off, Jog. yeah, lovely. Anybody who's wanting to put one on a Myford, it's pretty simple, and I suppose if I want talking and chattering away, drinking cups of tea, I probably could have done a whole lot in half an hour. I've seen other people do them by making their own backplate, similar to this idea. They've got themselves a backplate like that, screwed that on, and then turned this down to suit, which could have done, but and that would have probably made it a bit slimmer, and then drilled and tapped that. But it seemed to come with everything, and it fit straight on without any trouble at all, so I'm pleased I bought it like that. Okay, so just a short little video to stick on YouTube, and thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, even maybe subscribe if you fancy. You never know what I'm going to do next. I never know, I just decide one day what I'm going to do. What I do need to do on this machine is this. I broke the original. I'll be truthful, I didn't break it. I bent it a little bit, and it was bent when I bought it a little bit. I bent it worse because I wound it too far on and I crashed it. And it's aluminium, and I took it off and I attempted to TIG weld it. What aluminium it was made out of must have been some sort of cast. The minute I got heat near it, the thing just collapsed like it was made out of silver solder. It just fell apart. So, what have I got? I bought these, I don't know if you've seen these, the Kung Fu sticks. Let's move this away. These are Kung Fu sticks, and they move in and out and spring in and out, and I thought, wow, we'll get them and lob one down, and it could go on there. No, that'll go on there, and it'll compress in and out. But unfortunately, that bore isn't really big enough to go on there, and if it's going to be rubbing all the time, that looks like it's spring steel, it's going to wear me lead screw. So I need something bigger than that. Steve Jordan on YouTube, he did one, and he made them out of Delrin plastic. He just bought about 4 sleeves, and they all fit inside each other, a bit like them Russian dolls. And he just attached one at that end, one at that end, and it just follows his lead screw, his carriage when he winds it up and down. Although his carriage ain't as long as mine, I don't think. His lead screw don't look to be as long. So ideally you'd have one on there as well, but in all honesty, I've never got any crap on there. The crap, excuse it, it's peeing it down outside, and I've got a metal, well, it's insulated, but it is a metal insulated roof, got noise coming through. So I'd probably, looking at that, I'd want one that would maybe stretch to that maximum and then minimum right down. That'd have to be made in, well, you'd have to know what your narrowest sleeve would be, which should be carried as far up that way as you'd ever work it. Which should be, I don't know, maybe there. So if you look at that, you've got that gap. So your longest shuttle could be that long, and you'd need whatever that is times to get to maybe, well, you'd have to go to maximum, wouldn't you, because the maximum you'd ever go to, otherwise you'd break it if you couldn't get that far. So there we go, that's as far as we'd ever go. It's quite a length, isn't it? That idea is better with spring, definitely. I've looked everywhere to try and get one of those springs, and there's one company on the internet in UK that make them specifically. I think there's something like £150. That's out of question. Yeah. The only thing is, you see, if I make a nice long one for here, just fit it back on there, you crash it when you get into there. If you want to get right up to chuck, you end up crashing it, because you've only got that room there. It's not enough. But it's difficult one. Another thing is my little guard I've got for here, that's going to crash regularly because of this. I probably need to make something that'll expand and contract, like a bellows type one, like on the is it the Warcos and the Siege mills, what they use for the bath, something like that. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm digressing. There'll be more videos to come. Thank you very much.